When you hold an old coin, you're holding a piece of history. It's not just metal, it's a story. For Malaysia, that story is long and fascinating. These little pieces of silver tell us about kings and sultans, traders from far-off lands, and huge empires. They show us how a collection of ancient kingdoms became the nation it is today. You see, money is the one thing that connects everyone. It doesn't matter if you were a spice merchant, a fisherman, or a king. You needed coins. And in Malaysia, for a very long time, silver was the king of coins. It was the metal everyone trusted. Think about it. Before paper money, before credit cards, there was silver. It had real physical value. You could melt it down, and it would still be worth something. That's why it was so important. When we look at Malaysian silver coins, we see the art, the culture, and the politics of the time. Every symbol, every inscription was put there for a reason. It was a way for a ruler to say, "I am in charge." It was a guarantee that the coin was worth its weight. These coins traveled all over the region, from the ports of Malacca to the jungles of Borneo, connecting people through trade. The history of these coins is a roller coaster. You've got coins from local sultans, stamped with beautiful Islamic calligraphy. Then you have coins from the Portuguese, the Dutch, and the British, each leaving their mark. It's like a battle of empires fought on tiny silver discs. Each new power wanted their money to be the standard. They wanted their king's face or their company's symbol on the coins people used every day. This is how you really take control. It's not just about armies, it's about controlling the economy. And that all starts with the coins in people's pockets. So, why should you care about some old silver coins? Because they are more than just collectibles. They are tangible links to the past. They are primary source documents, just like an old map or a diary. They tell us what was important to the people who made and used them. They show us the evolution of a nation's identity, from the earliest simple silver pieces to the finely minted coins of the British Empire, and finally to the coins of an independent Malaysia. It's a journey worth taking, and it's all stamped in silver. Let's dive in. Long before Malaysia was even a name on a map, there were powerful kingdoms in the Malay Peninsula. We're talking about places like Langkasuka and Srivijaya, going back over 1,000 years. These weren't isolated places. They were major hubs on the ancient trade routes between India and China. And where there's trade, there's a need for money. The earliest forms of currency weren't always coins. Sometimes they were just lumps of metal, like tin ingots shaped like animals. But the first real coins that appeared in the region were something special. They were made of silver. These earliest coins are often called sandalwood flower coins. They were tiny, and I mean tiny. Think smaller than your pinky nail. They were made of a silver and gold alloy, and were very simple. They had a design on one side that looked like a four-petaled flower, which is where the name comes from. The other side usually had a letter or symbol in Sanskrit, an ancient Indian script. This shows the strong influence of Indian culture and religion, like Hinduism and Buddhism, in the region at the time. These weren't for buying a house, they were for everyday transactions at the local market. Dating these coins is tough. We're talking about the 9th to 14th centuries. That's a long, long time ago. They don't have dates stamped on them like modern coins. Archaeologists find them in the ground, and historians have to piece the puzzle together. They look at where the coins were found and what other artifacts were with them. The silver itself probably came from mines in the region, but some could have been imported. These little coins are incredibly rare. Finding one is a big deal. It's a direct connection to a world that has long since vanished. The important thing to remember is that these were the first steps. This was the beginning of a monetary system in the Malay world. Before this, it was all barter. You trade your rice for my fish. But coins changed everything. They standardized value. A coin was worth the same amount today as it was tomorrow. It made trade easier, faster, and more efficient. It allowed these early kingdoms to grow richer and more powerful. These tiny silver flowers were the seeds from which a complex economic history would grow. They are the foundation of everything that came after. As the ancient Hindu-Buddhist kingdoms faded, a new power rose, the Islamic sultanates. The Malacca Sultanate, founded around 1400, was a game changer. It became one of the most important trading ports in the entire world. And with a huge port, you need a solid currency. The sultans of Malacca started minting their own coins. While they used a lot of tin coins, called pitis, for small transactions, they also had silver. The most important silver coin of this era was the mas. The word mas actually means gold, but the silver version was a standard unit of currency. The design of these silver mas coins was very different from the earlier sandalwood flower coins. The influence of Islam was clear. Instead of Sanskrit, the inscriptions were in Arabic. They would often have the name of the reigning sultan and his title, like Sultan al-Adil, which means the just ruler. This wasn't just a coin, it was a declaration of faith and power. The calligraphy was often beautiful, a work of art in itself. These coins were not perfectly round like modern coins. They were often irregular in shape because they were handmade. Each one is a little bit unique. After Malacca fell to the Portuguese in 1511, other sultanates like Johor, Kedah, and Kelantan continued this tradition. They minted their own silver coins, often based on the Malacca model. The Johor Sultanate, for example, made silver coopers. These were small, octagonal, or eight-sided coins. That's right, they weren't round. The shape itself made them stand out. The inscriptions continued to be in Arabic, naming the Sultan, and sometimes the date in the Islamic calendar. The weight of these coins was very important. It was based on a system of weights using seeds, like the saga seed. These coins tell a story of a region that was connected, but also independent. Each sultan wanted to show his authority, and issuing his own coinage was a key way to do that. The silver for these coins would have come from trade or local mines. Using them was a part of daily life. You'd use them to buy spices, cloth, or food. For a historian or a collector, these coins are incredible. They are physical proof of the power and sophistication of the Malay sultanates before the Europeans took full control. They represent a golden age of local rule and Islamic culture in the region. When the Portuguese captured Malacca in 1511, it was a shock to the system. A European power now controlled the most important port in Southeast Asia, and one of the first things they did was introduce their own money. They needed to pay their soldiers and buy local goods. The Portuguese brought their silver coins, like the real, but they also minted special coins right there in Malacca. These coins were designed to be used in Asia. They were a mix of European style and local needs. It was a smart move. You want people to use your money, you make it familiar. The Portuguese silver coins minted in Malacca were called bastardo and soldo. They were made of a silver tin alloy. The designs were very European. You would often see a coat of arms or a globe, symbolizing Portugal's global empire. The inscriptions were in Latin, with the name of the Portuguese king. But they understood the local market. The value of these coins was often related to the local tin currency. It was a way of bridging the gap between the European and Asian economic systems. These coins circulated alongside the coins of the local sultans, creating a very complex money situation. Then came the Dutch. In 1641, the Dutch East India Company, or VOC, kicked the Portuguese out of Malacca. The VOC was a massive trading company, basically a state within a state, and they had their own money. The Dutch brought in their famous silver coins, like the Rijksdaalder or Riksdollar and the Dukaton. These were big, heavy silver coins, accepted all over the world. The VOC also minted its own coins in the East, stamped with the famous VOC monogram. That monogram was a symbol of power recognized from Amsterdam to Batavia, which is modern-day Jakarta, to Malacca. The Dutch were all about standardization. They wanted their currency to be the one and only currency. They tried to push out the local sultanate coins and the money of their European rivals. The silver Riksdollar, often called the Silver Rider because it had a picture of a knight on horseback, was a key coin. It was a high-quality, trusted piece of silver. People knew it was good money. For over 150 years, Dutch silver coins were the backbone of the economy in the areas they controlled. When you find a VOC coin in Malaysia today, you're holding a piece of corporate and colonial history. By the early 19th century, a new player was in town, the British. They established settlements in Penang, Singapore, and Malacca. Together, these were known as the Straits Settlements. At first, the money situation was a mess. You had Spanish silver dollars, Dutch guilders, Indian rupees, and local sultanate coins all circulating at the same time. Imagine going to a store and the cashier has to be an expert in world currencies. The British needed to fix this. Their solution was one of the most famous coins in the world, the silver trade dollar. The British trade dollar was a big, beautiful silver coin. It was a heavyweight, about 27 grams of 90% pure silver. It was specifically designed for trade in the East. The design was classic British. On the front, you have Britannia, the female symbol of Britain, standing on a shore, holding a trident and a shield. In the background, there's a ship. This coin screamed, "Britain rules the waves and global trade." The back had the value in two languages, English and Chinese, and a beautiful geometric design. This coin wasn't just for the Straits settlements. It was used all over China and Southeast Asia. Eventually, the British decided they needed a currency just for the Straits settlements. So, in 1871, they started issuing their own coins. The silver coins came in denominations of 5, 10, 20, and 50 cents, and a $1 coin. The early coins featured Queen Victoria. Later, you had King Edward VII, King George V, and King George VI. The design was very consistent. The monarch's head was on the front, and the value inside a beaded circle was on the back. The dollar coin was the same size and weight as the trade dollar, so people trusted it. These coins were the standard for decades. They were used for everything, from a worker's daily wage to a merchant's large business deal. The silver content was a big deal. For example, the dollar coin was 90% silver. But during World War I, the price of silver shot up. Suddenly, the silver in the coin was worth more than the coin's face value of $1. People started melting them down. The government had to react quickly. They stopped making silver dollars and started making smaller coins with less silver. This was a huge change. It was the beginning of the end for silver as everyday money. In the world of coin collecting, some pieces are true legends. They're not just rare, they have a story. For Malaysian numismatics, one of the holy grails is the Kedah Cockerel coin. This is a very early tin coin, not silver, but its story is tied to the era. More relevant to our silver story is the unique coinage of the sultans. For example, some sultans in Kelantan and Terengganu minted gold and silver kijang coins. These coins featured a kijang, or barking deer, which was a symbol of the state. Finding a silver kijang coin is incredibly difficult. They were not made in large numbers and are highly sought after. Another fascinating and rare series of coins are the emergency hat money pieces. These were not made by a government. During the 19th century in the state of Pahang, there were periods of unrest and coin shortages. Local leaders and merchants needed a way to pay people. So they took tin and sometimes silver and cast them into a shape that looks like a traditional Malay hat or tengkolok. They were then stamped with a seal of approval. These are primitive, crude pieces, but they are incredibly rare. They're a perfect example of necessity money. Coins made out of desperation when the official system breaks down. Then you have coins with errors. In a mint, things can go wrong. A die cracks, a coin is struck off center, or it's struck with two different dies. These mistakes are usually destroyed, but sometimes they slip out. For collectors, an error coin is a treasure. Imagine a Straits Settlements 50-cent coin with Queen Victoria's head struck twice, slightly offset. That's not just a coin anymore, it's a one-of-a-kind piece. These errors tell a human story about the minting process. They remind us that these coins were made by real people and machines, and neither is perfect. Perhaps the most legendary stories involve discoveries. People find old coins in the most unexpected places. A farmer ploughing a field, a construction worker digging a foundation, or someone just cleaning out an old family chest. There are stories of jars filled with Dutch VOC silver ducatons being found buried near the Malacca coast, likely hidden by a merchant centuries ago. Each discovery adds a new chapter to the history of these coins. It's not just about what the coin is, it's about where it has been for the last 200 or 300 years. That's the magic. That's the story you're buying. In 1957, the Federation of Malaya gained independence. This was a monumental moment. A new nation was born. And every new nation needs its own symbols, its own identity, that includes its own money. For the first few years, the old coins of the Malaya and British Borneo series were still used. These coins featured Queen Elizabeth II. But the new government knew this had to change. In 1967, a decade after independence, Malaysia issued its first series of coins. This was a huge deal. For the first time, the coins of the land would not feature a foreign monarch. The 1967 series of coins was designed by a man named Geoffrey Colley. The coins were beautiful and modern. The front of every coin featured the brand new Malaysian Parliament building. This was a powerful symbol of democracy and independence. Above the building were a crescent and a 13-pointed star, symbols of Islam and the 13 states of Malaysia. The back of the coin showed the value and a hibiscus flower, the national flower of Malaysia. This design was all about celebrating the new nation. It was a clean break from the colonial past. In this first series, only one coin was made of silver, the 50 sen coin. It was made of 80% silver. However, this didn't last long. Just like in the past, the price of silver started to rise globally. By 1969, the silver in the 50 sen coin was worth more than 50 sen. The government had the same problem the British had 50 years earlier. People would hoard the coins or melt them down. So, after only 2 years of production, 1967 and 1968, the silver 50 sen coin was discontinued. It was replaced with a coin made of copper nickel. This marked the end of silver coins for everyday circulation in Malaysia. Although silver was no longer used for everyday money, Malaysia didn't stop minting silver coins. Instead, they started making commemorative coins. These are special, limited edition coins made for collectors. They celebrate important events, anniversaries, or themes. For example, Malaysia has issued beautiful silver coins to celebrate the World Wildlife Fund, featuring endangered animals like the tiger and the orangutan. They have also made silver coins for sporting events like the Commonwealth Games. These coins are legal tender, but you would never spend them. They are works of art, made of precious metal, designed to preserve a memory. Collecting Malaysian silver coins is a journey through time. It's a hobby that can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. For some people, it starts with finding an old coin in a drawer. Maybe it's a straight settlement's 10-cent piece from their grandfather. They look at the date, they see the face of a king they've only read about in books, and suddenly, they're hooked. They want to find more. They want to complete the set. It's like a treasure hunt where the treasure is history itself. You're not just buying a piece of metal, you're buying a story. The value of a Malaysian silver coin depends on 3 main things: rarity, condition, and demand. Rarity is simple. How many were made? A British trade dollar is a beautiful coin, but millions were minted. A silver Kijang coin from Kelantan, very few are known to exist, so it's going to be much more expensive. Condition is key. A coin that looks like it was just minted yesterday is worth way more than one that's worn, scratched, and barely readable. Collectors use a grading system, from poor to mint state. The higher the grade, the higher the price. Demand is the X factor. What are people excited about right now? Sometimes a popular book or TV show can make a certain type of coin very popular. The market for Malaysian coins is strong, both locally and internationally. There are passionate collectors in Malaysia, Singapore, the the United Kingdom, and America. They connect through online forums, auctions, and coin shows. They trade stories, share knowledge, and of course, buy and sell coins. This community is what keeps the hobby alive. It's not just about a transaction, it's about a shared passion for history. For a new collector, my advice is simple. Start small. You don't need to buy the rarest coin on day one. Pick an era that interests you. Maybe you like the Straits Settlements coins. Try to collect one of each denomination, 5, 10, 20, and 50 cents. Learn about the monarchs on the coins. Learn about the changes in silver content. Buy a good reference book. The knowledge is more valuable than the coin itself, because when you know the story behind the coin, it stops being an object and becomes a piece of the past that you can hold in your hand. And that, to me, is priceless. When you lay out the entire history of Malaysian silver coins, from the tiny sandalwood flower pieces to a modern commemorative proof, you see more than just a collection of money. You see the story of a nation. It's a story of changing cultures, clashing empires, and the birth of an identity. Each coin is a snapshot of its time. The Sanskrit on the early coins tells of Indian influence. The Arabic script on the Sultanate coins tells of the arrival of Islam. The European coats of arms and monarchs tell of a long period of colonial rule. It's all there, stamped in silver. The use of silver itself tells an economic story. For centuries, it was the metal of trust. Its value was real and universal. A merchant in Malacca could take a silver coin and know it would be accepted in China or India. But the story also shows the end of that era. Twice in the 20th century, the rising price of silver forced governments to remove it from circulation. This shift from precious metal to fiat currency, money that has value because the government says it does, is one of the biggest economic stories of modern times. Malaysian coins are a perfect case study of this global change. The designs on these coins are a window into the soul of the people who made them. The art of the calligraphy, the power of a sultan's name, the pride of a new parliament building. These are not just decorations, they are messages. They communicate power, faith, and national pride. For a ruler, a coin was the best form of propaganda. It went everywhere and was seen by everyone. It was a daily reminder of who was in charge. For a new nation, its first coins were a declaration to the world that it was now master of its own destiny. So, the legacy of Malaysian silver coins is rich and deep. They are important artifacts that belong in a museum, but they are also accessible treasures that anyone can collect. They are part of Malaysia's heritage, but they are also part of a global story of trade, empire, and economics. They show us how interconnected the world has always been. Holding a 400-year-old silver mas or a 120-year-old trade dollar is a powerful experience. It connects you directly to the past. It's a reminder that history is not just something you read about in a book. Sometimes it's something you can hold in the palm of your hand.